Okay, mic is on. I don't know if I have anyone here, so just left it running for a little bit. Get all the frogs out of my throat first. I have sent the necessary links to the necessary places. So now it's just... Oh, that was my arm. That's a big stretch. So yeah, let's, without further ado, let's switch that on, switch that off, and have some music on. And we're going to be making a new character. And I already know what I'm making. So let's go for Plainsfolk. It'll be a Toolala. Basic face. That's good. Give him the Pippin hair. Yeah, it's Pippin hair. And like that. Yep. Rule number 1. I'm gonna really speed run these character creations. That'll do. That'll do. Nose is fine. Mouth is fine. Yeah, whatever. Big ears. Oh, actually. Yeah, I go for type 1. Big ears and... Nah. He's fine as he is. None of that, none of that. No face paint. Yeah, that'll do. Yep. That's it. I don't need to do that. No, done. And Rauga the Destroyer. That's the one. Ooh. And we're gonna go to Lancer. And that's what we're going to go for. Select another. In fact, we are going to go on Odin. And there's a reason behind that. We're going to go on Odin because Odin is one of the raid servers for EU. And there you go. Right, so we're now in the game, which means that at any given opportunity, once I actually get in, I will be skipping cutscenes. The idea is to get from this point all the way to endgame as quickly as possible without taking any detours unless absolutely necessary. So as far as I'm aware, that is the basic MSQ, the dungeons attached to MSQ, the trials, and then Crystal Tower and job quests. So for the moment, that's all we're going to focus on. Literally every single cutscene that comes up, I will be skipping. Yep. Gamepad. Yep. So the most that I am probably going to be spending time on is I am just going to be going and doing this very quickly. Yep. Full Frost, Chaos Frost, and Lance Charge. and that can go away, that can go away. Roll actions, and that can go there, that can go there, that can go there, and it doesn't matter about the rest of them. Right. So essentially, and I'm probably going to go into here, skip, 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 Just going to quickly have a look at the UI and just get rid of all, go away, go away, don't want that, don't want that, and hard, HP percentage, yep, pretty much just trying to go through as quickly as possible, so we're going to do some of this first, and get rid of that, so that should be, yeah, but speed, and it's kind of generic, protagonist voice. That's another thing. And since I can't skip, I am going to just mash my way through, and it does not matter. So while I'm running, main commands, no, it's general. Sprint can go there, limit break can go there, and I don't have the other options yet. That's fine. So as we're going in, skip. So essentially, one of the main parts of this is to try and get a feel for the game without actually going full in, like just purely on gameplay. You know, let's remove all the story aspects, remove all of the other bits and pieces as a game. So I'm hoping that I can get, if I do this, you know, fairly reasonably, so it's like maybe a couple of streams per week, I'm hoping I can do this before the patch comes out. Or at least Savage comes out. Because Savage is normally a week or so afterwards. And if I can do that, that in of itself will be quite something. If not, then oh well. So I'm predicting that within the next few weeks I can get this character up to endgame, and then once I am at level 100, then I am pretty much just waiting for essentially I am waiting for just getting current level gear, whether that is through tombstone grinding, crafted gear. I should have enough money to do so as well. Yep, whatever. Yep, have a pie, have a skipped cutscene, and it is mainly just down to just not so much speed running, but it's like the idea of it is you have friends, and those friends have been playing this for a while, and they've finally gotten you to play this. But what they've neglected to say is that you don't need to catch up with them. What they've instead said is that you should come and join them at the current fights. So you've gone, oh, okay, and then you've looked at the story skip, you've looked at the character skip, and you've gone like, oh, that's you know, I'm not going to spend an extra 20 quid, you know, $20 doing this. Instead, what I will do is I will grab a new character. I've got a 3 months worth of game time, and I will go and I will do as much as I can. So one of the important side content that you have to do is the the role quests, the class quests. So this is something that I can't skip, because this gains access, especially to a Realm Reborn class. It gives you access to your job, which you will need, and access to certain abilities. So I have to actually keep on top of this. And I can't skip this cutscene. Right, cool. So I will be let out loose into the world in just a second. And so pretty much it is just trying to go through as quickly as possible, but not in the speedrun way where I'm going to focus purely on the speed. I'm going to play this in that kind of mode of the player being... Oh, yeah, I can skip this. Right, I am now level 3. Next quest is level 4, which is perfect because I've just gotten the quest off my job quest, so I can go do that. How? Right, okay. Is it because of the Lalafell? So there's a reason. Do you wanna know the reason? Oh, I'm just waiting. Because the reason is, if you are indeed talking about my choice of being the Lalafell, is there's two prongs to my experiment. So if you have all of the expansions, I'll say my first bit first, and then I'll go into my second. So the little experiment that I have is comprised of two prongs. There is the what I'm currently doing. No, there is the aspect that I'm currently doing, and then there's the other aspect, which will be a different set of streams, which I will be doing. And the best way I can put it is in the phrase the long and the short of it. This is the short of it. And the long of it will not be a Lalafell. It will in fact be probably a male Rogadin, being the tallest I can be. Hence, the long and the short of it. And that's all it is. So, in terms of current fight, you do have to go through the story. So, to gain access to the current Savage, or any Savage, you will have to have fulfilled certain requirements, one of them being is to go past a certain point in the MSQ. And, for example, for current stuff with Dawn Trail, you would have to have completed the quest Dawn Trail. So, unfortunately, unlike other MMOs, which you can kind of just come straight in and go straight to the more up-to-date, newer content, with 14 you have to go through everything unless you want to buy a skip. And even then, that skip will only put you to a certain point. It won't actually get you right up to endgame content. So, if I remember rightly, the skip may get you to Shadowbringers. I haven't really looked at it for a while, but I do remember when the skips first came out, they completed a Realm Reborn for you, and then you still had to go through Heaven's Ward and then on to Stormblood. So, all things considered, you're just kind of, you are stuck. You have to do stuff to get to the next thing. Regardless of anything else. And the way I'm going to be judging this is via playtime. So doing it only through streams and doing it through like the playtime. Right, I need to go back down to here. That's fine. At some point I will. Yeah, it might be up to there. Well, there's plenty of good stuff in Stormblood as well. It's literally just lease. Right, I have access to the hunting log. So that might actually, depending on if I need help with XP, which I don't actually think I will do, especially with the way that they've buffed everything, I'm going to ignore all of this. And I'm literally going to focus on MSQ as much as possible. I do find that there is, with every expansion, there's point where the pacing does slow right down and you feel like you're stuck in an area for a bit too long. In certain expansions you feel it more than others, and yeah, I'll take that. Yep, whatever. Next quest, skipping. Right, what's he after? Head, body, hands, legs and feet, item level 5, which means that I need a headpiece. Now there is a way I can do this, which is just go over here and buy something. To be honest, I think Le Maire was in fact the better choice in those regards. Right, I'm level 5 as well, so I'll just carry on as this. Grab that. Skip. Yeah, they're different problems. At least Wuklemat has, to her own benefit, the fact of being a new character, quote unquote. While Lise was a character that that you, to some degree, you had familiarity with, and then she suddenly became a new character and kind of forgot herself. That's the best way I can put it. That's one of the gripes I had with Stormblood. And when I'm going through the other stream character, which I'll be doing at a lot less of a pace, I'll be going through a bit more studiously, and we'll be kind of discussing the characters themselves and everything along those lines. Right, what's this? Is this a fight? That looks like a fight. Yeah, that's a fight. Let me skip the cutscenes. Oh, it's so nice. Speaking of, right there. That's a particular person. So her working with Papalimo, like, does in fact, I'd say, like, what she works better as the pinky to the brain, and then suddenly having to be by herself and having to actually shoulder the burden of being a quote-unquote character. I think the ball was dropped a little bit and didn't quite know where to put her, especially as she was quite honestly, you know, she was fumbled by the writer of Stormblood, and it's quite obvious that there is a and it is quite obvious that there was this kind of disconnect in the writing of previous writers then being shown up. Like, she's a Disney princess, and yeah, she's a more modern Disney princess, while Wuklamat, in my mind, is closer to Korra from the Avatar franchise, where she gets away with everything and is a little bit of a Mary Sue. You know, those power-ups are, you know, a couple of scenes ago she wasn't able to do anything, and then suddenly she's able to, you know, outpower you, the person who went to the end of the universe. It's you know, there's a bunch of stuff. I'm waiting for there to be some kind of big twist about that. That would be interesting. But for the most part, I think Wuklamat is someone's pet character. I don't know who specifically, but it's she's someone's OC. And that's all it comes down to, is that she is someone's original character, do not steal. And they're very upset that no one likes her, that no one liked Poochie. But unfortunately, Wuklamat will not be returning to her home planet, and she will in fact be sticking around for at least a little while longer, up until the point where we start working on the next expansion, and then she'll become, you know, Lise 2.0. I don't think she's Yoshida's pet character. I think that she's one of the writer's pet characters. Because I did a little bit of digging, and there's three current new writers who have been doing stuff for a little bit in Shadowbringers and taking over Endwalker once. Is it Ishikawa? I can never remember. Like, my mind's gone blank. Once the Shadowbringers writer ended up working on Final Fantasy 16. If they come back to London, then yes, I would like to go back to FanFest. It would be really nice to see if I could get a media. And yes, the voice acting in of itself, going back to an American voice actor after having so long with more professional English voice acting, does kind of add an air of amateurishness. Yeah. So, as Ishikawa has been moved on to greener pastures, per se, other people have now filled in that role, but I don't think that they quite have the same latent abilities as she does. And while it would be nice to have kept her as the FF14 writer, I can imagine from her point of view, there comes a point where she doesn't want to be stuck on the same thing for too long, and moving on to other projects would probably be the best for her. Now, one of the big issues that I am kind of considering, and I'm thinking about more, is the fact that 14 has kind of rested on its laurels of being the good story MMO and the quality MMO that cares for like its players' time and everything like that, and it's not WoW and all of these other things. I think there's an issue that it is now it's just kind of expected by the 14 devs that they have this goodwill of, hey, you're the guys who did A Realm Reborn. You're the guys who managed to fix the broken MMO and turn it around in 2 years, and you managed to do this. Like, aren't you cool? Yeah, but that was 2013. it's now 2025, and I know that Japanese devs work very different to other types of devs, but the formulaic nature of 14 it's starting to become too much of a rub. And yeah, I know that they went and they tried different things and this, that, and the other, but over time, and we will see this more with the other character, you'll quite readily see that the breadth of content does kind of just fall apart as we go forward. You have A Realm Reborn, and The Realm Reborn's got a load of dungeons, it's got a load of bits and pieces, and like, okay, that's fair enough, it's the first thing. I am in fact going to go back quickly and do my level 5 quest. So you had a lot of stuff for A Realm Reborn. You had like 3 dungeons per patch, plus a trial, plus this, that, and the other. No, quite a lot of stuff. And then in Heaven's Ward, they started to pare down on that, but they tried adding things like Diadem, which didn't work, or they tried adding, and they added Palace of the Dead, and they did a whole bunch of things, which I admit, well, I say I admit, it's like, to be perfectly honest, it would split up the development time and development resources to one thing or another. That's reasonable. But we're now getting, in 7.1, you got a new dungeon as part of the MSQ. You got the EX trial of the final trial for base, the base expansion. You then got the first of the 3 24-mans, and then you got a new thing, which was the 24-man savage fight. And that's pretty much been the thing. A lot of people are mentioning about relic weapons, and I think there's a lot hanging over how they managed to do the Dawn Trail relic weapons, and especially as they seem to be attached to one of the exploration zones, as they like to call it, like Eureka and Bosja. I think they have something good to be able to utilize that as a way to have mid-core content for the players who aren't doing Savage, who aren't going and doing some of the harder stuff all of the time. Like Bosja and Eureka, it was a place where you could kind of figure it out, and you didn't necessarily have to be, super duper raider. It's a big time investment, but it's not something that you have to kind of really like dedicate yourself to. If they manage that, that's great. But I think a lot of people, especially after the massive exodus of WoW players, I think a lot of people, especially as WoW seems to have done particularly well recently. I know a few people have gone back to it, citing that the newer content and the newest tech spec was actually pretty good, all things considered. There's a lot of players who have the luster has been lost, or they never had the patience to get through the story in the first place. Dawn Trail in of itself, there's a lot of veteran players who are now looking at Dawn Trail and seeing the cracks, as it were, and becoming concerned because, you're willing to put up with quote-unquote bad gameplay or monotonous gameplay if the story's good. And you're willing to put up with a bad story if the you're willing to put up with bad story if the gameplay's good. You can have one or the other. You can't have both. Oh, thank you. And you can't you can't have both being kind of bad. Jesus Christ. I'm blowing out my speakers. I had a drink delivered. Suppose it was becoming obvious that my voice was getting a little bit, I suppose. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing this in the first place, is that I'm very interested to see if I take away the story, am I gonna have fun with 14? And I don't know if I'm gonna like the answer. Like, at the moment, I am pressing 2 buttons. But then again, that's most character action games. It's just pressing those buttons in a combo makes them more interesting. Early game is going to be early game. And I'm just, as I said, I'm just interested to see what the eventuality and what conclusions I am going to draw from doing this in a certain way. But regardless, a lot of this is just me rambling about nothing in particular to whatever I'm actually doing on screen. Because, yeah, I'm kind of disjointedly running from place to place, fighting monsters and picking up stuff at the moment. It's not terribly, not terribly involved. Have your stuff, whatever, yep. No, I'm gonna get something from you, so I'm gonna get you. Yep. Playing it by myself, all the leveling up and such. Yeah, so like I think you're on about when you're doing like extra classes. Yeah, if you just focused on one, you could get through. You could get through this, the main story and everything just on one character, on one class, and it'd be not a bad problem. And for part of the reason why I do like 14 is the fact I can just have a singular character with everything leveled up on them. It does start actually becoming a problem once you do reach endgame, where you then have to go, hey, if I want to be a tank in this, particular tier, I will then have to get stuff for tank. That's fair enough. But what if I then want to play as DPS? Maybe do some clears or help a friend or this, that and the other, and they need DPSs instead of tanks. You're then kind of stuck, because to get the gear for a good DPS gear, you then have to split up, and it's going to take way longer. It's like, and even between classes, like, you can't play multiple tanks, because the multiple tanks then have different gear that's their best in slots. So like, one tank's going to prioritize skill speed over over determination and stuff like that. A good all-rounder job to that honestly, like, it depends, because there's no good all-rounder job. Like, if you're going into hard content, the question is do you want to be a tank, do you want to be a healer, or do you want to be a DPS? anything else on that is not really a question. If you want to do just general content, then what you're probably looking at is Red Mage, to be perfectly honest. Like, in all of the extra content like Eureka, Boschia, Palace of the Dead, anything like that, Red Mage is going to be your best bet to be an all-rounder, because that's kind of what the job is. The job is not quite a white mage, not quite a black mage, a little bit of a jack of all trades, especially in the older Final Fantasy games. So you've got all of those to consider. But in 14, you still then have to do the first 50 levels on another class just to unlock it. Which in part is why I've chosen Dragoon, is because there's not much in the way of gear that you have to fight for from someone else. It's a relatively tanky, so I don't have to think too much of overworld stuff. And yeah, it's just something that I feel like would probably be the easiest. It's a melee job, so I'm stuck on geometry. It's a melee job, so I'm not having to worry about cast times or anything like that. Grabbing the spear. Right. This will be my first introduction to the Asians, which is down there. Ooh, pardon me. And yeah, you can raise people, you can heal people, you can deal damage. See, the problem with Warrior is Warrior has added responsibility because it's a tank class. So unless you were going to do everything through duty support, like all the bits that you can do through duty support, there's not much point running a tank, because you're kind of expected as a tank to run things in a particular way and to take charge on things. So I know some people don't like actively having to make active decisions in dungeons and stuff like that, or pulling and keeping aggro, even though they've made it almost negligible. Like, by this point, the concept of aggro doesn't really exist outside of much higher level content anyway, and a lot of the time you are mainly fighting with other tanks for who's got aggro and who has the most enmity. And that became especially apparent with the introduction of Pictomancer, which was creating so much enmity that they were starting to steal off of tanks. So instead of making it so tanks would actually have to pay more attention, they made it so tanks generated a lot more enmity and gained aggro quicker. As far as I'm aware, that's what happened. And yes, a DPS for a new player, I would say, is the better option. Because in everything that you have to do, which you are required to do it with other players, you do not have responsibility. You are one person out of 4, or out of however many for the 24-mans, who is literally just there. If you die, or if you mess up mechanics, you're not really going to affect many other players. or many of the players that you're with at that moment in time. So I do think that's, especially for someone who is just trying to get into it and doesn't really know what's going on, I would say DPS is the best way to go. But to be perfectly honest, it also comes down to the fact of, like, hey, just pick the thing that you find cool and figure it out. Like, that's honestly the best way to do it, is just to actually kind of just go in on the deep end and just go for it. Because as long as you put in the effort to be like, hey, I'm not just I'm not just pushing random buttons. My favorite job is, like, I'm a bit weird because I do like new summoner. I like how summoner plays. I like how machinist plays. I just don't like the heat burst section of it because that's just annoying. It's become more annoying than it is fun. I don't like any of the healers. I like how warrior plays. I like how Dark Knight plays. I like how Gunbreaker plays. Yeah, to be honest, Dragoon or Summoner are the two ones. Dragoon, Summoner, and Warrior are the kind of up there top tier jobs that I like to play. And I'm literally just doing some housekeeping while I'm here, because this will save me time later on. And yeah, I'll go to the Archers Guild. I'm really sorry, I'll go. Oh dear. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and yeah, certain quests have better lore associated with them, like Dark Knight. I think the Machinist story is actually quite good as well. The samurai stuff can be fun. Dragoon stuff was quite fun. Like, a lot of them have nice, interesting little bits of lore, which are quite cool. No Shroud, yep. Whatever. So that's perfect, because that's all in the same spot. I'm actually going to quickly just go like that. Pardon me. But if you're not paying attention to that, it all comes down to pretty much your playstyle, and you can't. You only need to. You only really get a handle on how the jobs actually play once you get them to max level. For example, Black Mage changes how it plays several times. Like, every time you get to another 10 levels, so you get it to level 50 and it plays one way. You get it to level 60, it starts playing another way, 70, so on and so forth. Black Mage is one that I can never get my head round. Like, yeah, it's cool and everything. It's the classic job of Black Mage. It does the big spells and the big damage. But my brain is too smooth. The rotation just slides straight off, and I don't understand it. And I have genuinely issues with actually doing it. Right, let's do this job quest while I'm here. But one of the other issues, and this is something that I've seen over the years as well, is the fact that jobs have become kind of homogenous. Tanks all kind of play a little bit the same. Not exactly the same, but they're very, very similar. Like, Dark Knight and Warrior especially are incredibly similar in how they do, like, their burst combos. And it's kind of, it's a little bit sad, because the you know, it would be nice if they had their own kind of, you know, a bit more flavor to them. Of a Dark Knight feels a lot more like a Dark Knight rather than just now a reskinned warrior with a bit of an emo kind of, you know, a bit of an emo slant. Yeah, whatever. I am not reading any of this. Yeah, whatever. Haha! You didn't knock me. You didn't knock me out of my my little cast there, where I was helping the person. Get, go on, get. Ah, excuse me. A little bit of a drink. It's been so long since I've done like the initial Gridania stuff. I think if I ever do orc characters, which I've done a couple of times now, they all end up starting off in Limsa, because I start off as either a summoner, well, an arcanist, or a marauder, just to make life easier. Get that early tank or that you know, the ability to have a DPS and a healer at the same time is very useful, especially for getting through things rather easily. And you got you two. Right, yep, whatever. I'm not too sure where I stand on Viper. While it was fun to level up, now that I'm at level 100 with it, I don't know how I feel. I don't know whether I like it or not. Like, it's alright. I think one of the things that really does turn me off is the fact that their sprint animation is kind of naff. Like, it's a bit shit, to be blunt. And like the skills themselves, like, yeah, it's easy enough to do, but they don't really pack that much of an oomph compared to some of the other melee classes. It just feels a little yep, skip. More skip. Who are these strange people that keep appearing? I don't know. I will never know. Oh, that being said, there is one cutscene that I will probably actually let play, and it's in Endwalker. And it's the big pop-off of, here's all the people that you came to help. Are you for real? Piss off. Go die. There you go. Right. Yep. Okay. Back to New Gridania. Warrior of not caring. Yeah, they're gonna be like, oh, you're all of these people. They rely on you. You know, they love you because you're the best, and this, that, and the other. Skip. Yep, in rooms. I think the biggest thing that's really gonna annoy me is the MSQ dungeons. At level 50. That's gonna just be a solid couple of hours of you cannot. Right, level 10, that's cool. Right, whatever. Yep. Cool. Go to Ben Branch, that's fine. I can quickly go hand this quest in, grab my next quest. Yeah. While on my other character, there's gonna be a lot there to deal with. And that should be quite a nice, quite a nice pop-off scene. But for the most part, what am I? So I'm level 10 already, and you there. Yep, whatever. Skip. What's the time? Oh, it's only 20 past, so that's fine. Right. Give me... Yep. I'll have that. Thank you. And let's go. Yep. That's a lot of text I didn't read. Right. And that's there. Okay. Teleport back. At some point I'll probably grab all of the stuff from my letters. I think the next time I go into town I should really actually know. There's a delivery Moogle right there. Aha. Right. Yep. Give me all the things. Free mounts and various other bits and pieces. Yep, whatever. Just getting rid of all of this. Probably gonna throw a bunch of stuff away as well. Okay. God, I've got so much stuff over the years. Because what I really want to do is I want to get the current earrings. And the current earrings are purely on crafting. No, crafting's definitely going to be a part of the other character. In fact, I will have dedicated time to go through all of the crafting stuff. Like I already have an idea of what I'm going to be doing with that character in terms of various bits of content. So I don't think you have to worry too much. Where? Delete it. Really? I had to get rid of all of them as well. So annoying. Come on. But yeah. Not so much purely based off of crafting, but crafting will definitely be a part of the everything character. Right. Can I refresh? I'm sure I've got stuff. Yeah, there you go. Just look at them all just popping back at. Oh my god. Is that another 20? Oh, it's only 17. Okay. That's not too bad then. I'm just gonna grab all of this stuff and then... Yes. So when I say I'll be doing everything, I mean I'll be doing everything. And it will be everything. That's a lot of gold chocobo feathers. That's not bad. There's even more. Unable to process. Oh, come on. Right. Yep. And... Yep. Yeah. Didn't realise I had quite so much. Jesus. Jesus Cristo. Right. Is that everything? Right, I'm just going to quickly delete and make some space. I think that's actually everything. And then I'm going to... it's not. It's not everything. There's more. The UK Omni server. Yeah. Oh, come on. I'm just trying to get through all of this stuff. I didn't realize I had so much. That's right. I'm gonna do one more request. One more request, and then let's see. Right. Yes. So my main character is on, because this is Odin, which is on Chaos, I think. While I play on Light, and there is a kind of crossplay a little bit, but it is mainly because there was only one for a good amount of time. You then had to kind of just be on that. So when they did the data center split, a lot of people didn't really move. So you had a lot of new players coming along, trying to get onto the other servers, and then it being congested. Yeah. So my main character is on the other data center, because one of my real life friends, he started playing and he didn't know about any of this, so he was over there. So I was like, you know what, I'll pay the fee, I'll cross over and I'll give you a hand over there. I've specifically put myself I've specifically put myself on the Chaos Data Center on one of the raiding servers, which is Odin, specifically so that when this character gets to endgame, I have a better chance of finding a group via PF, which is kind of the way that I'm going to do this. Oh, go away. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. Recommend gear. Yep, much better for my EXP. Like for example, so I'm on Phantom. The Phantom server on the Light data center. You can just go buy a house. Like in quite a few of the wards on many of the places. I'm not too sure about Imperium or Shirogane, but on the basic housing districts, you can just go buy a house, and you don't have to fight at all. Oh, fuck it up. Oh no! So yeah, I'll just quickly go deal with all these. And just kind of making myself available, kind of streamlines the process of when I do get to end game, quote unquote. Hopefully I can do it before the new Savage comes out, so I at least have a little bit of time to either build up money or grind the previous tomestones, plus the actual the new normal raid gear, so I can then try and actually go on to new raids. The idea being is like, right, all of this grind and everything to get to said endgame, is it actually worth it? Am I getting anything out of this? Like at the moment, I keep myself occupied. Yes. Oh no, definitely. I'm not a housing person. I like the idea of it. I like the possibility of doing various things, but I am not a person for the housing. I lack the patience. Right, I have to go down there. I lack the patience. So it's not so much on just the US data centers or the US servers that is an issue. It's anywhere that it's built up, because there's a finite number of houses. And I distinctly remember back when Shirogane first came out, the free company I was in, it was me and one of the other guys. We had split between us, like, was it about 50 odd million each? Excuse me. We had about 50 million each, and we had to pretty much get on as soon as the servers were up, try and get to specific wards and places as fast as we possibly could, and then just spam the thing to kind of let us actually get it. Yeah. The lottery system, I have problems with. It's not something that I hold. I think it's a very Japanese way of dealing with the problem. I get the fact that housing doesn't need to be inclusive of everyone. I get the fact that there should be, to a degree, it should be something that you as a free company, and you as a free company should be able to come together, pull your resources and get something, and not necessarily be able to get that. I personally think that personal housing should be a completely separate beast. Like, that free company housing should be something that you as your free company put together, this, that, and the other, and then personal housing should be like the Island Sanctuary, where everyone can have their own bit of personal housing and it's a separate instance and this, that, and the other. But if you actually wanted to be in a community or whatever, then you would have to actually put yourself out there for it. Yeah, the lotto system is fair, quote unquote, but the fact that you could, and I remember seeing this. I remember seeing complete wards bought out by members of one free company. And they weren't even doing much with it. They just bought it for the fact that they could then, at some point, resell it. I was like, oh, come on. Taking the mick a little bit. But no, the housing aspects is definitely... It's a very weird beast. Because to do certain... Yeah, so for example, when Japan has a big earthquake, or there was a big hurricane in America, or various bits and pieces, they turn off the automatic deletion because, it's not that you're not wanting to play the game, it's that you physically can't play the game. So that, it's kind of nice, but it's like more to the fact of like, it makes the system a bit redundant in the first place. But no, the issue with housing is free company housing presents various bits and pieces that you can only get certain crafting materials via doing free company housing stuff, like the submarines or the airships. So that's definitely something that I'm going to have to go on and do for the other character. So that will be finding a free company and finding people that I can actually do that with. One of the issues being is like, kind of doing that from the beginning. I'm very much not sure if you can do that solo. But there's this constant, what I feel from the developers is that there is this constant struggle between being an MMO and actually being a RPG. They've said many times before that they tend towards the RPG more than the MMO, but I do believe that there has to be some point where that something has to take precedence, and you can't just kind of do a little, you kind of can't half-ass both aspects of it. Oh, I need to be up there. For example, PvP is another big example. Like, they keep going back to PvP, they keep doing stuff with PvP. Yeah. Do you still need other people for the crafting for, like to make new pieces for the airships slash submarines? I'm pretty sure you still need people to do that, but I'm sure that you can just get people in the party for that. So it's not really like the biggest of deals. I'm not close enough. Yeah, like I remember when it was the bloody Wolves Den. It was just the Wolves Den. And then I remember them adding Frontline, the first Frontline. I dropped off once they started messing with the hotbars and things. My brain was too smooth, it did not understand. And I've tried Crystalline Conflict a couple of times. Funnily enough to get certain glamours for my main character, because I didn't realise that they added dyeable versions of the different dyeable versions of the main of the Heaven's Ward job armor and the Crystal Tower stuff. That was really cool. And yes, I remember trying Rival Wings out for a little bit back when it was brand new, and then, as you said, you can only do that if you've got people who are going to be all online all at the same time, all going for it. It's really silly. But this is one of the things. It's an MMO. They expect PvP to be people expect PvP to be an aspect, and like I feel like I'm complaining a lot, but it does honestly comes from a place of love. Well, I knew a lot of people who are have I just gone? I've gone the wrong direction. I have indeed. I wasn't. I knew a lot of people who played a lot of MMOs, whether it be WoW, whether it be even like Ultima. I knew a couple of people who played that, and what? What's what statement? I don't believe. Oh no! I think what Steph was on about was the feel of the game, like not so much the feel of the armor. Yeah, no, I don't think that it was like an aesthetic, like feeling. I think it's more like the, yeah. I don't think it's an aesthetic feeling. From the gear itself, I think it's the feeling of the gameplay between PvE and PvP. I think that's what she was trying to get at. And yeah, I agree. And but it does feel like PvP is not something they genuinely wanted to do, but felt like they had to because it's an MMO. And it is really interesting to kind of think on those lines as like you're expected to do you're expected to do certain things to fit with a particular genre. They've changed the format many times since A Realm Reborn came out. You had the 4v4 with Wolves Den, you then had the Feast, you then had Crystalline Conflict. They tried making a MOBA with Rival Wings. They tried making. I'm really surprised. Oh god, it's all a bit all over the place. You know what? I'm really surprised that they haven't tried doing yet is an actual battle royale. 100 players down to 1. I think they're smart for not trying to do that as well, because to be honest, you'd probably have like one particular scholar or one particular warrior who knew how to press their buttons in the right way, and everyone would get mad. Oh, this job's broken. This blah blah blah. This isn't balanced, and they do it well. Yes. Oh, that's not PvP though. That's Gold Saucer shenanigans. That's Fall Guys. And Fall Guys is already its thing, and you can't use skills. It's just jumping. Like it's just messing around. Like, I'm talking the 2 weeks game. I'm talking the meme game with every character from everything. I can't remember. They brought it back. Have that. Yep. Winged Beasts. I'm at level 12 and I'm level 13. Actually, that's not bad. I'm keeping abreast of the actual level scaling. That's not bad at all. doing maths is a skill, and it's a skill that a lot of 14 players lack. Hey, so I was trying to do various bits of content back when the European servers were in fact in Montreal, and you then had to kind of feel it out via divination. You had to then feel out when the server was going to decide that you were in fact not in that landslide and not in that weight of the land. And you had to then go and read the entrails and the bones that your skills did connect. And in fact, you were able to do all of your rotation properly. And that was, yeah, that was great. And then I moved up to Scotland, and I moved out into not just Scotland, but the middle of nowhere Scotland. And the internet was cack. Yes. Oh yes. And the internet was absolute cack. It was awful. And I attempted, this is back in Gordius. This was Heaven's Ward. I attempted Gordius and Midas, trying to get into statics and parties, and I legitimately could not do my my rotation as a dragoon. Therefore, no one would take me. Oh no, go away! Actually, go away! I can't do this. It's like I can't speak to the NPC because this thing is aggro to me now, because it stood right next to it. So I'm going to have to try to kill this, or at least survive until I get the time down. Oh, that's annoying. Didn't even think of that. I'm so used to just not bothering with fates because I just run straight through them. Well, at least I have my healing abilities, so that's something. And yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that they've improved upon over time, and like it's not quite as much of a pain, but they're still like it's a live service game. Things are going to change over time. The way the games industry, is going to work, it's been now like 12. Well, if you count when 1.0 came out, this game's been out for 15 years. Like, some of the people working on this have been working on specifically Final Fantasy XIV for over 15 years of their life now, and that's quite something. Right, I'm very interested to see how they're going to approach. Yes, especially with skills consolidation and stuff like that. Like, because if I remember rightly, Old Dragoon had Heavy Thrust, you had not just, yeah, you had Disembowel, you had Heavy Thrust, you had quite a few little things for the lower levels that you had to kind of maintain. Like, I had to maintain a buff by hitting from the flank. I had to hit from behind to get my buff for my actual piercing buff, which was a piercing debuff on the enemy, which meant that Dragoons could take advantage of it, as well as Bards and then Machinists, because they all had the piercing aspect. You then had the Blunt, which... Blunt was... Monk put it on, and I'm just trying to think who else could actually take advantage of that. Like the slashing debuff, like you have to run like actual party compositions to take advantage of the various the kind of the debuffs you could put on the boss enemy to make the most out of everyone's damage, and you pretty much always took a bard with you. Yeah, like I still remember the cross class system. I actually quite enjoyed the cross class system. Like, yeah, you had to level certain jobs to be able to do certain things, but that was really interesting. Like, hey, to become a paladin, you have to mix your gladiator, and then you have to go and level up conjurer because it's a holy knight. It was like, oh, that's cool. You know, dragoon. Okay, to get dragoon, you go and you level up marauder as your as your secondary, like that. And then some of the abilities that you could get from it, like mercy strike onto dragoon, which was a move that you could only pull off if your enemy had like 10% or less health, and if you killed an enemy with it, you got a load of health back. It was a life steal. It was really good. Right, cool. You're gone. Bloody hell. All that just for like one. Yeah. No. It was. I do agree that it's like it probably. Well, not probably. It was rather unnecessary to a large degree. Yeah. You know, instead of lance charge, it still uses the same picture. I am always going to call that blood for blood. Yeah, it's an interesting system, and it's a really good system, kind of even going off of like some of the older job systems from, say, Final Fantasy V and so on and so forth. But now, like, it's one of those where it's like, okay, now I'm a lancer. Okay, cool. I should, at level 30, regardless of anything, I should just ping. I should just ping into dragoon, instead of having the problem of potentially forgetting or not realizing that I needed to do this, and then not being my job, and just being a class, all the way up into level 50 and beyond content, or accidentally making a new gear set and not equipping my job stone. So ninja used to have a couple of different venoms that you could put on your blades to do different effects, and then different abilities had different effects from you having different venoms. So in certain situations, it was a good idea to run Venom of the Wasp, and then in other situations, it was good to run, it was Wasp and, I'm trying to remember now. In the end, it wasn't, like, it really wasn't that cool, because you only used one. Yeah, like, you really only used one, because that was the one that got you the effects for the actual rotation. Yes, it was Viper and Wasp, and you only used one because the other one didn't really do anything, or you wanted, I think it was Mug, that had a very specific effect on it, and yeah, and they got rid of it. because it was a cool idea on paper, but once you actually put it down and put it into practice, it didn't quite translate. And it's quite interesting now that you have Viper as an actual class. Oh, I keep saying class when I mean job. But it's quite interesting now that you have Viper as a job. Oh yeah, a Ring of Thorns. I think that's what it was called. I remember that one. That was a combo ability. It was a combo ability with Heavy Thrust. So you get your damage buff up, and then you could use a random AoE attack. Yeah. Have your stuff. Yep. And it's all these things that, like, if it was an older style MMO, like, if it was Final Fantasy XI, say for example, you could then get away with all that stuff because it's a different pace, it's a different way of doing things. And no, I don't think Reprisal was an AoE attack. I think it was a single target. And it was a Dark Knight move. Oh, I can't remember. Oh, it's so long ago. It all blends. Oh, I'm sorry. You've got my mind like struggling. I don't remember it being an AoE, but I remember like the really. It was the other. It wasn't necessarily it wasn't Soul Eater, but it was the other one that had. It was the enmity generating move that had a really cool animation, which they just got rid of. But yeah, it's like Dark Knight has been. Yes, I'm pretty sure it was. Like, Dark Knight has been chopped and changed so much. It's almost nothing like it used to be. Oh, I can skip that cutscene. Go away. And yeah, Dark Arts was great. It was a really interesting move, and the fact that you had to your tank stance itself meant that it was just leeching MP off of you. You had to manage your resources a lot better. It's easier to play, but it's kind of lost some of its it's lost a lot of its identity. It's now just warrior, but not warrior. Yeah, like current MP management on Dark Knight is it's not really much of anything. I don't think I need to go in there. No, I'm pretty sure I don't. But it's one of those where, they've listened to people on the forums, or people have made various comments about it, criticisms, and they've just essentially like they've flattened it. Yeah, having your invuln ability be the only way that you can actually self-heal is not really that great. I'll grab you first. And it's like, compared to the insane sustainability of a warrior done right, like, it is, especially early, like if you're leveling up a Dark Knight and you end up going into an earlier dungeon, it is honestly, it's amazing. It's amazing that you have, you're so squishy. I think that's Astrologian. I'm pretty sure Astrologian has absolutely nothing in that regard. Healers are not my strong point. I do them because I have to, not because I want to. Yes, having tank stance at a real point is a good thing. And Ast's card mechanic has been all over the shop. Wasn't there like 6 cards to begin with? Because I remember doing, I remember doing the entire Astrologian quest line, where you go through like the 6 major constellations, which was all of your cards that you were using in battle. But now they're not really anything. Like, it's one of those classes I still, on my main character, I've still yet to actually, there's always 6 cards, yeah. No, I mean, like, it's weird. Like, memory is fuzzy because I would play Astrologian just to get it leveled up to where it needed to be, and then I would put it down and I wouldn't touch it until the next X pack, where I would go level it again, possibly put a new glam on it, and then leave it. That's been my relationship with that particular class ever since it came out. Yeah, and they can't seem to settle on something. And I know, like, scholar mains have been mad, Astrologian mains have been mad, white mage mains are always mad. And to be honest, like, I don't disagree. Like, it would be nice if the healers had more to do. Like, there's so many healing abilities that in basic content I can get through basic leveling, basic all kinds of stuff, just by using all of the healing abilities. Like, there's so many buttons to make sure that people don't die. It's only when I really tunnel vision or I stop paying attention and I end up literally sat there just pressing stone or like the DPS button over and over again, is that when people die. Yeah, like, you can do every bit of content. If you want to queue for anything, if you queue as a healer, you are getting it. But apart from that, you're not really doing anything in it unless it's an actual hard piece of content. Like the scholar beam from Arcanist, which was the damage over time mage, setting up all of your debuffs and all this, that, and the other. Like, that in of itself was great. It had something to do. You know, you could kind of forgive white mage just not being there. Like, yeah, Sage is the only one there, and I think they've got like maybe 4, 5. And it would be nice, like, have some healer combos, Christ's sake. Or even if they want, because one of the issues is they're afraid of button bloat, which is very, very understandable. Like, you don't want button bloat, because we've already gotten to the point where you can essentially fill up, and especially because they have to do they have to make stuff around controller. I am a controller player. I've been a controller player since I started, because I started playing on the PlayStation 3, which is, wow, that's a long time ago. And yeah, so the idea of, you know, let's say for example, why haven't they gone towards the blah, 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 blah. Why haven't they gone towards the PvP thing? You know, especially as a tank. You know, warrior could be, you know, you could have two buttons for your main, you know. Oh, what? Wrong person. No. You could essentially have 2 buttons for your main combo. You know, you could have your 1, 2, 3 all on one button. Yeah. To be honest, I use a 2-button 2-bar setup. Like, number 3 is there for specific things, like for example, if I'm doing Palace of the Dead, I stick potions on my 3rd. Oh yeah, Pictomancer and Viper especially is that just in of itself. But with a lot of things, they're kind of stuck in this place where they are fairly risk averse, and they'll dip their toes in, but they're not going to make sweeping changes until probably in the next X pack. And they were saying that, hey, there's all of these job bits and pieces, these job changes that they're going to do. That's MSQ, East Shroud. Right, I'm going to do more MSQ, because yes, I'll do more. In fact, I'll just teleport. Yeah. Like, the holding down one and then swapping to the other one, I've messed around with a little bit, and it is something that I am probably going to sort out, but the problem is not so much the way to do it, it's just me. I'm not used to it. So I essentially make sure that my main rotation is all on hotbar number 1, and then number 2 is purely for like AoEs. I like any buttons that literally can't fit. But yeah, like, I imagine for the next expansion we are going to have, your Dragoon buttons are now 2 buttons for the, you know, 1 button for this one, 1 button for that one, and it's just going to cycle through, and it's just going to be like that, and you'll be just potentially just sat there pressing A or pressing B. Yeah. Ooh. Oh, is it this one? I remember where I am in the story, even though I'm not paying attention. Right. take down the XIV. And yeah, it's oh yeah, they added all the portraits for everyone now. Like, it's little quality of life things like that I quite like. So you can kind of see who's speaking at various points. But no, I thought about I should be, you know, I should try and be a real gamer and try and figure out how to play this mouse and keyboard like you should quote unquote properly be. And in the end, I just went, nah, I've got my comfy. I have my comfy controller, and I'm just gonna sit here on my controller. Right, that's that side. I'm helping. Yes, I am indeed. Look at me, I'm so good. See, and you can still see the bloody, like that Lancer over there is using Cure, which is a cross-class ability. And also that previous quest with the Chocobo Thieves. I'm pretty sure I saw that guy in Palace of the Dead not too long ago. Yes, duty support in older dungeons is absolutely fantastic. It's just a shame that to have the AI and the NPC characters in there, you then have to rework those older dungeons. Yes. Like, I normally have, especially for that, like, I'll have my jobs, like my hotbar jobs there, so I could switch just by clicking, possibly like a mount or various bits and pieces. But that's mainly what I use my third hotbar for, is like stuff like food and everything like that. All of my main commands are on my fourth, you know, have like 5 and 6 for emotes. I do also play quite a lot on PlayStation 4, so like not having access to a keyboard or a mouse for that is one of them. No, I get you. Like those, that's where the third hotbar comes in it for me. Am I actually doing anything to you? I feel like I'm not doing much. Do I have to kill this one first? No, I don't remember killing the gargoyle first. Yeah. Look at this Babiasian. What's your weapon? I can craft, you know, that's like a level 15 craft. Excuse me, what are the Unsundered, like, actually kitting you out with? I think you've been shortchanged. This is poor random ancient. Oh, now you come in. Yes, do something, please. If she does, she's using only bootshine. She's actually using only bootshine. Oh no, now she's gone into something different. I saw raptor form just like appear over and over. Yeah, but it's still like, that's still some random person from the before times. Like, and then just like La Habrea or Emmet or even Elizabeth are just like, you can just have this stick with a rat skull on it. Yeah, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. That's not very nice. Oh, where am I going? Yeah, I'm going there. But nah. And there's certain aspects like when it does come to the story, and I'll probably be going over these more lately. It's like, yeah, it's obvious that this is an evolving story, that certain aspects weren't quite fully fleshed out until a certain point. But like any good long-running series anime, that's I will admit, one of the benefits of doing this in this way is we do not have to bother with A Realm Reborn voice acting all that much, which is, to be honest, kinda nice. Right, so we're on level 14 for the main story quest. That's good. And that means we're not going too fast. Let's like as much as it's trying to get through all of this, I'll still have to do all of the main story stuff anyway, so I might as well be appropriately leveled. Once we get to dungeons, however, that's all going out the window. Oh god, they are. They really are. Hall of the Novice Hole is, I would say, is actually genuinely quite good. I did some of, they've added a whole bunch of newer stuff. Yeah, they added a whole bunch of newer stuff recently. And you can get like a level 60 ring, or something like that. That's really good. And they actually do the full thing of, hey, here is, oh, it's beaten. And you go see Master Beaten. Yeah, and they do the whole thing of like, this is what a stack marker is. This is a getaway. This is a flare marker. This is X, Y, and Z. Like, actual, now that they've gotten to the point where they've pretty much standardized what AoE markers are. So it's genuinely quite good if you are new to the game and you're like, right, I've seen these weird big orange arrows appear above my head. What do they do? Now, the store content, I have, if I remember rightly, I have bought one item off of the store, and I was incredibly sad that it was one for one character, and that was the Play Dead emote, because that emote has gotten so much use over the years. Put on the mask. Nobody cared who I was until I put on the mask. And where am I supposed to go? I am not supposed to be in this bit. Like, I've looked at a lot of the stuff available in the on the marketplace. Well, not marketplace, on the MOG station, and genuinely none of it appeals to me at all. In a way, it's amazing because you don't have to ult, and in another way, it's really annoying because, yeah, I don't want to Fantasia my character. Like, I want to try a different race, but I don't want to Fantasia my main character because I've become too attached. And I can't see my character that I've been playing since the open beta of A Realm Reborn being anything but what she is now. And it's kind of weird. But if I wanted to go try something else, I will then have to make a completely new character and go through all of this stuff again. And to be honest, none of the stuff that on the MOG station, like for clothing wise, none of it appeals to me anyway. So it's just like, I guess. Right, are we going in the cutscene? No cutscene. Redanian Envoy. Right, okay, so I've been going now for a little bit, and we are just leaving. Yeah, it's I wouldn't say it's cheap, but in comparison to some games, yeah, it's practically a steal, and that's not a good thing. Like that in of itself, the fact that I can say that statement is awful. Yeah, mounts and stuff like that. There's a couple of mounts like the Lunar Whale. I wouldn't mind getting that, or Cruise Chaser. Like, yeah, they're cool, but I don't need them. Like, to be honest, the only mounts I really get are the whatchamacallit, the bloody, the mounts that come from, from the collector's editions. Cause I'll get the collector's editions, like the digital ones. Oh no, they're not the worst, but it's still like, that's, a couple of quid for a cosmetic or an emote that, in a way, should kind of just be there. Right, East Shroud, North Shroud, New Gridania, East Shroud, up there, Lancer killed. Okay. I'm going to do the level 15 quest for Lancer now, because that is probably the best of ideas before I go gallivanting off to another. Yeah, but it's at the same time it's an unnecessary, like, I kind of come from before the times of DLC. Like, I remember when horse armor was a big deal. And yeah, seasonal events, unless there's something amazing like the Phoenix mount or the Sentai armor, like, yeah, I got those when they came out as seasonal events. Like, but nah, like, who are you again? If I get presented that with as an option, I am taking it every time, because I just don't know who anyone is anymore, especially on this character. And yeah, so I have very much a distaste towards little microtransactions. I'm very much not a fan. And so if I don't deem something as worth it, I won't engage. And I understand that a lot of people aren't like that. Aw, random sprout healed me. How sweet. Yeah. Ah. Oh, is it not a is it not a two player? Like, can you not have someone in the sidecar? Does it not seat two people? Yeah. Oh no, definitely. And I'm very much like my heart, my cash, especially for something like games, I really have to like know that it's worth it. Yeah. And that's the kind of thing that helps me along as well. It's just like, I don't have to buy any of this. It is all just cosmetic. It is just, emotes and mounts and this, that, and the other. I don't need this. I can get plenty of cool stuff just by playing the game. To be quite honest, 14 is really good because it saves me money, where I would quite possibly go and buy maybe a couple of games per month, either through Steam sales or this, that, and the other. I might go like, oh, I'll spend £10 here, £20 here, £30 there. Or I might even do a silly thing and look at a new game and possibly buy that for 60, 70. Yeah, it's on your login screen, and it's on social medias, and occasionally it's on the live letters when they're showing off new stuff, and that's about it. I do quite like that as well. Let me not get stuck on terrain. But yeah, like, as I was saying, it's like this game saves me money because I pay the subscription fee, and yeah, it's a constant subscription fee, but I'm not spending money on anything else really. And this game has kept me occupied for over a decade. So when because as I'm going to be looking into making content which is going to be criticizing, it does come from a place of genuine, like, I love this game. This is the game that this is one of the very, very few games that I'm quite even, to a degree, evangelical about. And I don't really push people towards it, but I do kind of like, hey, you're looking for this or this, that, and the other. It's like, have you tried this? It is definitely one of those. Right. I'm gonna finish off this quest. I'm gonna do the Lancer quest, and then I am going to go back to town, and I think, yeah, no, I get that. I will do this quest, and I will go back to Gridania, and then I think I will probably stop there for tonight because it's about 10:30. I've been going for a little bit, all things considering. Going for 2 hours. Yeah. No, the free trial is amazing, especially for a game like this. It really does go above and beyond. Because I remember when the free trial was up to level 30, or it lasted only 14 days. And yeah, it was kind of interesting. But to be honest, the level 30 free trial, I thought was quite a smart move on their part, because you could get up in the main story, you could go for all your classes and stuff like that. Like, you had full access, but it stopped you just before It was like up to level 35 or something. So it stops you just after the Titan fight, where you go back to the Waking Sands. And yeah, like just as the Waking Sands gets sorted out, it was really good. And then, you know, having the whole meme of like, hey, you can play up to the end of Heavensward and all of that stuff. It's like, nah, it's great. But I can feel, well, back then, I think this was just as Heavensward was out, so you could actually, like, you had more to play with. But oh my god, I think I have done enough, because I can feel my eyes growing heavy. Right, you little person, you can log out. Let me switch this up. It's not accessibility, audio, others. Main scenario progression. Back. Right. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. And I'm getting tired. Like, genuinely, I am getting tired. So, with that, I am going to log out. I'm going to stop the stream, and I'm going to go get some sleep. Right. Goodbye.